Hello, my beloved ones. I'm Algimantas. I'm just thinking that it's high time I opened you a broader vantage point on the climate change. Well, in Lithuania, it's pretty cold and windy now. That's why I'm in this coat and even with a hood on. So this theme has propped up absolutely unexpectedly. And I think that it's just the right moment to speak about the climate change. Why right now? Because during the last decade, people pay a lot of attention to the so-called climate change, or even warming up of the climate, and especially melting of glaciers in the southern pole. And they're trying just to find the causes of this phenomenon. And the majority of the so-called scientists lay the blame on industrial technologies that are being applied in different places on different continents. And especially they pay attention to the exhaust gas of automobiles. So pollution of air is a well-known phenomenon, and it is obvious that cars pollute air quite a lot, to a very high extent. But this is not the cause of the climate change. And in general, man's industrial activity has no any impact on the climate change. But why is climate changing? Well, we have to pay attention to man's living system, man's mind, consciousness. We are like generators of vibrations, of energy. We are not simply human beings. We have our material brain to think and to act, and our brain emits permanently, ceaselessly, energy vibrations. We are like, well, power stations. Power stations generate electricity. We also generate vibrations. And they go either on a very high frequency or, on the contrary, on a very low frequency. We, depending upon our mood, upon our state of consciousness, we emit either vibrations that we receive from Creator Himself, from the Paradise Trinity, I am, top frequency vibrations, which we experience as Creator's love. We experience love within ourselves. And in this case, we emit high frequency vibrations all the time. The closer we establish communion with Creator, the Paradise Trinity I am, the higher frequency of our vibrations are being permanently radiated by our brain. Even while asleep, we radiate only at a slower speed or a lower amount of the same frequency our energy vibrations. And our planet has originated from the sun. So imagine our sun in its center has the temperature of 20 million degrees Fahrenheit, while on the surface, on the outskirts of the huge body, the temperature drops down to several thousand degrees. So this huge heat pressure from the center of the sun has such an immense power that it spits out this burning mass, the burning mass of the of huge sun as a mass body, a burning masses into open space, which is cooling down and attracting even other body masses already spit out of the sun earlier. And they make up an aggregate body by an attraction power. So just the process of forming planets is a very long process in space. But this is the method that our planet has originated. That's why in the nucleus of our planet, there is a burning nucleus. And the temperature of this nucleus is maybe some 3,000 degrees or even more. So that's why when volcanoes erupt, so we can watch huge energy being erupted high into air. So in general, this heat is also putting pressure on the crust of the planet. And in some places, this heat is erupting as volcanoes, and these parts of our planet has also a certain influence on the climate change. In general, the warmth of the huge nucleus of our planet is emitting as vibrations. So this warmth is getting out of the nucleus and going up into space. It's like boiling kettle. When it's just accumulating heat within the kettle. So this heat must be let out of the kettle, otherwise the kettle will explode. So in our case, the nucleus is also emitting all these heat vibrations into space. And they also make impact on the origination, on the origin of different flow of air masses, as well as on the stream in different say directions in the oceans. But the most important cause are human vibrations that we ceaselessly emit. if we go as human beings possessing our free will, if we go towards Creator, who is the source of top frequency vibrations, the source of love and light, so our vibrations are being emitted as short waves. But if we turn just the opposite direction, we turn away from Creator and we live a selfish life, in this case our consciousness produces and our brain emits long waves. So once we generate and emit short waves, they do not block even and smooth flow of air currents on the planet, above the planet. But if we generate long waves when we lead our selfish life, so they, like a huge obstacle, like a huge dam, begin to affect the smooth moving of air currents. And this makes the main cause of the climate change, because in this case the nucleus of the planet permanently emitting its warmth into space has no enough of chances of being emitted into the space without being blocked by our low energy vibrations. So this is becoming like the effect of a hothouse on the surface of the planet. So in other terms, the main cause of the climate change are humans themselves. Their selfishness, selfish approach to the meaning of their living on this planet makes a huge impact on our vibrations, on their frequency, and in their turn they are blocking the normal smooth air currents, and that produces a greater amount of the formation of tornadoes, storms, blazers, and other phenomena that has never been that abundant on our planet before. And that was because until 1985, all these phenomena have been evened by Creator's providence, because until that time our planet has been isolated under quarantine, and we were not considered by that time that we are an evolutionary developing planet. So we were rendered a lot of assistance on the part of Creator's providence, but we didn't see the members of the providence in operation. But we considered that such phenomena as hurricanes, as tornadoes, are just starting naturally and ending naturally, while in reality they were hushed up just to have not so grave consequences on human lives by this invisible to our eyes Creator's providence. But since 1985, our planet is not on quarantine anymore. As the major participants in the Lucifer rebellion against Creator were tried, were sentenced, and that actually made our planet as an ordinary, evolutionary, developing planet, like many other planets in creation. So in this case, humans themselves have to settle their problems by enlightening themselves, by opening to Creator and discovering Creator within, just to raise their vibrations to an ever higher frequency of vibrations they are emitting permanently. So the providence now is coming to our assistance only at our request. If we pray for any sort of assistance, they do render this assistance if this assistance is not against Creator's will, including their assistance in different critical situations, in different circumstances, and including mass flooding or enormous blazers or tornadoes and the like. So man's natural activity, I mean industrial activity, they make pollution, air pollution, as a mechanical or material pollution. And of course, it's not a pleasant effect on man's living conditions. And quite often it is unhealthy effect on man's physical body, on his living system. But it doesn't have any effect on the climate change. Therefore, to lay blame on man's economic sphere, on man's industrial activity, is not the right way to look for solutions just to prevent the climate change. We have to expand our outlook and begin to speak out that man's inner self, man's personality self, is the one to blame for the climate change. And this is already man's spiritual way of thinking and even acting in everyday life circumstances that might eliminate all the causes that affect the climate change. But we have just to deal with this issue together with Creator Himself and His providence. We are unable to change ourselves by our own will, just to raise our vibrations to a much higher frequency. Just not to stop the air currents moving around the surface of our planet and letting all the heat out of the nucleus of the planet into space without blocking this movement of warmth. Therefore, I do desire that you would begin to think that each of us can put our own personal income to preventing this tremendous climate change, which is in reality taking place. But the causes that are being, pointed out by the so-called scientists are not correct, are not right. And it's just the time to think about the causes I just pointed out. That is our inner selves which produce vibrations and emit them by our consciousness, makes up this real cause of the climate change. So it is us who are making up the climate change. It is not our industrial activity, but our own state of mind, our consciousness and subconsciousness, how much they are polluted by low frequency vibrations. The more selfish we are, the more effect we have on the climate change. Or actually our low frequency vibrations. They affect this climate change. And the time shall come when people shall be that enlightened that brotherhood shall be spread all around the globe, and the whole mankind shall be brethren among themselves and worshiping one Creator, the Paradise Trinity I Am. And the climate change shall end. There would be no tornadoes, no rainstorms, no flooding, no volcanoes erupting anymore, no earthquakes anymore. Just imagine stability of the crust of the planet, stability of the whole environment around us. And even the sun burns out its energy, and the planet shall still carry on its existence, and life shall continue here, because we shall receive an artificial light and warmth for the planet, and it shall be arranged by the Creator's providence, and it shall be eternally because our planet shall be encircuited into eternal energy currents or eternal energy circuits that shall give us light and warmth. It's light like a sunny day without the sun above the planet. And at night it would be the light close to the full moonlight. And the temperature in the daytime shall be around 20 to 24 degrees centigrade. And at nighttime, it shall vary between 15, 18 degrees centigrade. So this would be a constant outer environment for humans on this planet. But humans shall be experiencing brotherhood and cooperation without any competition, without a free market economy, because brotherhood is based on Creator's love and mutual assistance. Therefore, man shall be valued for his generous impact on the environment, and in their daily living they shall be judged by Creator himself what motives are driving humans to perform their activity. The motives is the only cause that gives the judgment for humans' actions. Motives. So the motive is only one: love, Creator's love. And this love shall be controlling or dominating mankind's activity, mankind's mode of living. And this shall be the cause of stability of the climate on the planet. That's why we should already begin to think about this remote time of the future generations with our own impact and income, or rather deposit already today. This deposit for the future well-being of our brethren. That's why I say to you, this is my desire that you would begin to ponder on what I just try to render for you. But it was so cold and so windy that at first I had some difficulty in trying to render you in a more fluent way. But I hope you got the idea I desire to attract your attention to. I love you and leave you in Creator's and my embrace of love and peace.